Classic Blues Licks with Mike Brookfield.
Hi, Mike Brookfield here. Welcome to Blues Show number 5. Today we're going to talk about kicking off a tune. So what's that all about? One thing I talk a lot about with students is when you go to a jam session or you're playing live and you haven't done many gigs before, or you've been working on tunes and you think it's going to go a certain way, and the first thing that can kind of throw you is you get up on a jam session, somebody says, what do you want to play? And you say, I'll play Key to the Highway. And they say, off you go then. And then you go, oh, I didn't think about that. How am I going to start the song? And that's something that people often overlook, and it can be a problem, you know. Somebody needs to start the song, and if you've called the song, then it's kind of your responsibility to set the tempo, and have something worked out where you're going to kick off a song. Now what I usually do is, being a big Clapton fan, is I steal a lot of Eric Clapton intros, and that's going to be the theme of today's lesson. So we're going to have a look at Key to the Highway, and we're going to have a look at the different ways that he's set it up over the years. I've stolen some video clips here. Let's have a look at how he's kicked it off over the years. So that's just 3 examples of how he starts it. He's done it lots of different ways. It's been a real standard in his repertoire, hasn't it, for a long time. So when I play it live, I use that Derek and the Dominoes intro a lot. So I do that one where I'll play that slow, and that would be my standard go-to one. I'm sure there's versions of me playing it on the internet. I'll probably drop a couple of versions in now as I'm and speaking, and just to prove that that's kind of the version that I use. But it doesn't always come out exactly the same, because when you're on a gig, you know, I don't pressure myself to remember things. I just want to just play and express myself. So even though the exact version is this, I may change it, you know. I'll play it one more times really slow anyway, so you can have a go at it. A few things to kind of talk about there is, you know, he's starting off with that thing that I call the train. And then he's going to like an E chord, which is the 5 chord in A, because we're in the key of A. And then he's going to that B.B. King shape. And then he's hammering it home like Clapton. He's playing the root twice, isn't he? He's not going. He's going da da, playing it twice. So. And when you play that turnaround there, you keep your little finger on the root, and then you do this descending line. And that would be a very straight way of playing it. But when you listen to Clapton, he does a little bit of a swing in his step when he plays it, which gives it that kind of more authentic country blues kind of feel, doesn't it? There's that slight rhythmical aspect to it. So when I play it live, I might mix it up. I might go. You know, I might kind of use mix up a few different ideas that I have, but you're playing from an authentic place. You're using, you know, kind of an established blues tools, if you like, within the trade. So you'll notice there when he played the acoustic version, he's doing that very Eric Clapton thing where he likes to do that, set things up kind of like give an atmosphere kind of thing when he played the acoustic one. So that's just the A minor pentatonic. So like, you know, there's the open A, there's the flattened third, and he gives that a good bit of emphasis, doesn't he? Hammer on to the root. There's a little kind of like hammer on pull off to the flattened fifth. And you can use that G and the E. And that kind of gives that more kind of, sounds a bit more like John Lee Hooker or something, doesn't it? It sets it up, and it's kind of almost a more cinematic kind of way of setting it up. And then he goes into, he uses that phrase again to pull it in. And then in the 90s version, he uses exclusively just that phrase. So he's got 3 different ways of setting it up there in for Key to the Highway. You know, one of them is the classic Derek and the Dominoes. The other one is a kind of more ambient cinematic thing, which is kind of like John Lee Hooker. And the other one is really more based around the riff. And there are a few different variations if you look at him on YouTube throughout the years. But considering he's been playing it for, you know, 40 years or something, there's not that many variations. So he has a thing that he does. It's like, right, we're going to play Key to the Highway, and you know it, the band know it's Key to the Highway when he launches into it. So that's the main crux of what I want you to think about this week. I'm going to do a little kind of tiny lesson on maybe playing around Key to the Highway as well now. But that's the main thing that I want you to think about this week, is how you approach kicking off a song. You might be getting lessons off your local guitar teacher, and you might have worked out 3 songs that you're going to get up and play at a jam session. How are you going to start them? Can you set the tempo for the drummer to come in? Take these things into account. You can always just like count it off, couldn't you? You could just go 1, 2, 3, 4. And Clapton does that on a few videos himself. But you know, it's kind of cooler, I think, sometimes if you have something kind of worked out. And I steal a lot of Eric Clapton intros when I'm playing live, because they're very clear and concise. They're very they seem very obvious to the band. There's no great mystery to what's going on. If I'm playing, the band seem to always lock in and know what I'm up to. So let's talk about the tune Key to the Highway a little bit. You know, Clapton's done it a lot in his repertoire over the last, 30, 40 years or more, whatever. But, it's originally a Big Bill Brunsey tune. It was actually originally a 12-bar, and then it was changed to an 8-bar blues. So please go back and listen to Big Bill Brunsey's version, and a lot of other great versions out there. Here's a couple of versions that I particularly like.
Yeah, we're taking it good. I got the key to the highway, built out and bound to go.
So yeah, Little Walter, you can't go wrong with Little Walter. If you're kind of new to the blues and you're looking for material to jam over, Little Walter is just fantastic. Great songs and really great playing. And then Freddie King is so raw and funky all the time, isn't he? So 2 great versions there to be checking out. So 12, it's not a 12-bar, it's an 8-bar blues. So the progression goes like this. It goes A to the E, up to the D. So that's the 4 chord there. Back to the 1 chord, the A, the E, and the A. And you can throw in a quick E at the end. So because it moves away from the 1 chord quite quickly after just 1 bar, up to the 5 chord, there's less emphasis on the 1 chord. That means you kind of have to follow the changes. You have to take into account that chord change. Whereas in a normal traditional 12 bar, you can kind of get away with not always running the changes. You can just play in the key of and have fun playing your minor pentatonic all over the whole 12 bar. But in a song like Key to the Highway, you have to really take the progression into account. And I found this out when I was in my mid-teens, and I used to get up with this band in my hometown and used to kind of play this song. And I found out pretty quickly that all my stock things just didn't work over this tune, and I had to go, back to the drawing board and find out, well, how come when I'm playing a normal blues in A, it's all good, and then when I play Key to the Highway, it just sounds a bit odd and a bit off? And it's because I didn't have that kind of sensibility of playing the changes or respecting the changes enough to kind of work with them. So let's have a look at how you can do that. And one of the best ways is obviously taking chord shapes. And if you listen to you know, Clapton and Little Walter and that, they're all playing things that are relevant to the progression, to different levels. You know, sometimes it's just one note, sometimes it's a chord shape, sometimes you're ignoring the chord but then you're catching another one. So you don't have to hit every chord in the progression, but if you kind of like, if you're aware of it and you're playing with an awareness, if you like, then it does make your soloing better. So you can use little chord fragments like that. That's like an A7, and then going up to like an E triad there, and I like to use these open strings, and then a D triad, and I like to use this shape a lot where I'm using the 3rd string 5, 2nd string 7 for a D7, and you can move that shape up. And that's kind of like a jazz thing of using 3rds and 7ths only, you know. And then back to A. That's E7. Turn around. So just those shapes can give you a lot of mileage. So you might be playing single notes. Single notes. And it can just kind of ground the solo a little bit, where you're alternating between single notes, playing a chord, single notes, chord, single notes. You know, you can use the Texas triplets there. And going back to what I was saying about setting up a tune, you know, there's nothing wrong with using Texas triplets as your intro. So if you say, right, okay lads, we're going to do Key to the Highway. You know, and then you're kind of off. So yeah, using chord shapes, little fragments of chords. So, you know, pull up some footage of Clapton and different guys kind of playing them, and look for those little fragments and the changes that they're playing, and have fun with that. So Key to the Highway, really good fun tune to practice playing, because it sounds good on your own as well, because of the type of progression it is. So, you know, really make it something that's part of your blues repertoire, because it will stand out against your regular 12 bars and your minor blues. So if you're playing, you know, traditional dominant style 12 bars, you're playing some minor blues, some darker sounding ones like The Thriller's Gone or something, and then you're playing 8-bar blues like the Key to the Highway, you kind of, you're mixing up those kind of traditional forms, and you're going to come up with a pretty interesting set. So one last thing on Key to the Highway is I like to use that shape, that major going to the major 3rd on A, and then running through the change. see what I'm doing there? I'm using that shape. It's based around that chord. Around the 3 chords. And there's that kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan. So where you say on A, you kind of hammer a semitone above and then you play the 7. So if you're playing, I always associate that with Stevie Ray Vaughan because he used it a lot on his intros and different solos and that. And it's nice because it adds some non-pentatonic kind of sounds. So you play the 9th and then you're just basically decorating the root with a flat 9. So if you're using that on Key to the Highway, so there you go, Key to the Highway. It's a good fun one to play, that one. And I hope you're enjoying these blues show lessons. And please feel free to leave a comment and say hello. And share them with your friends if you think they might be interested. And keep it happening, keep it burning out there. See you on the next one.
Classic Blues Licks with Mike Brookfield.